And I've been here in Columbus. I've lived here in the city, and I'm transgender. I am female to male transgender. And I was born and raised in Arizona. I've moved around quite a bit, and then I've been in Columbus for the past 3 years. I went to a mainstream school as well as a deaf school and ended up graduating from the mainstream school. I started transitioning last year. I came out last year and then transitioned completely over the past year. I recently changed my name last month. And it was really a great experience seeing the movie. I have a lot of similar experiences. I've gone through lots of similar things, and the way I was raised was different. I had to hold back a lot. I couldn't just come out as being a man. And so to see how strong Austin was in that was impacted me quite a bit. Last year I came out, and I have a lot of friends who supported me. Some of the people in my family weren't as supportive, but for the past 6 months or so, I've been getting a lot of support. It's been very wonderful. I have great friends and great family members as well. And in the movie, it was really interesting to see some of the experiences, how to compare them living here in Columbus, being in touch with lots of hearing trans people. As a deaf person, it's interesting to sort of compare experiences, and I've met transgender people across a few different states, and I've sort of done a lot of thinking about what the experience is like, and so if we separate deaf and hearing people and think about how their experiences are different, I think it can be more easy for a hearing person to transition. Some people might know already. It might be easy for that person to move to another state and just pick up, start a new life. But in the deaf community, it's its own little world. It's very small, and so if I moved to Florida, I would inevitably meet someone, and they would ask me where I went to school, and I would explain, what deaf school I went to, and then suddenly we'd have sort of people we know in common. It always happens that way, that you just sort of meet people that you have in common. And so I'm involved in the Trans Ohio support group. I facilitate that occasionally if the main facilitator is absent. He's also a female to male transgender man, and he's hearing. And so once in a while I'll facilitate that, and we have 2 interpreters that go to that event. It's a wonderful experience. And so it's nice to be in a position of mentorship for newer trans people who are at the beginning stages of their transition. It's hard to explain really, but I just feel very proud to be a part of the strong community that is here. And so if people are considering coming out, there's a risk and there's fear about telling your family and telling the people who are close to you, but ultimately your happiness is what's most important. And so you have to be strong, and if you have any questions, there's going to be the right time, the right environment for those questions to come out. And now maybe the moment. This is not the best moment to come out for someone, but it's really important for people to be considering that and making that decision for themselves. But I'm really happy that John and Brenda are here as a part of the discussion, and and so we've been working on this for quite some time now, and so I'm happy to start taking your questions. Thank you.
About Austin and his experience in a deaf school in the western part of the United States. I know he had spoken a little bit about that. I know that we've got deaf schools all over the country, and just in terms of how that happens with students who are struggling with their identity and how that happens in a school setting. I remember long ago, I used to work in dorms in a deaf school, and I worked with a student who had some of these issues where the student strongly identified with a gender other than the gender that they were assigned with. And I was just curious, you know, in terms of schools.
So I think it's a really great question. Thanks for asking. So I know that there's an issue of children staying overnight in school. Some children stay overnight in the dorms. And so, you know, sometimes I did see students struggling with that. And I think that, you know, the belief is that the parents need to be involved in the decisions the children are making since they're underage. And really, the student needs to be able to sit down and have a discussion. A discussion has to be had with the administration to figure out what the best placement is for that child, and also to, you know, make it a safe place for the student. They should have to make sure there's no bullying there, and they can be educated in a safe environment. So
those that are transitioning gender in the workplace, and I feel like it's pretty supportive, but you know, what kind of experiences do you see or have you experienced in terms of transitioning gender in the workplace, or as the workplace sees you gender-wise?
So my experience has been, as far as my work goes anyway, like I said, I transitioned last year, and I said, I'm going to go through this process, and they said, are you going to change your name? And I said, no. And you know, it was just more awkward than anything because it was the first experience for them. And there was a deaf department and a hearing department there. And you know, the deaf department had never come across this before. It was a bit of a struggle. It took some time and a lot of patience. And you know, finally there were some changes, like people saying he instead of she, and not using the name that I had before. And those kind of changes kind of took some time. And then when I actually did change my name, I noticed a much bigger response, a much faster response. I think most people are at risk and often do lose their jobs when they come out or when they transition, so.
Anyone know anything?
Okay, so the question was about the intersection of ASL and transgendered and those influences. That's very interesting. You know, I feel like I signed the same. I don't feel like during that transition my signing style has changed at all. You know, my signing is influenced by where I grew up. You know, sometimes hearing transgender people, their voice undergoes that change. I don't know what my voice sounds like, so I can't attest to that. Do I sound like a man or a woman? I don't know. You know, I see myself as really, I don't identify as more feminine or more masculine, or that I sign more in one of these styles or another. I just sign like myself. And you know, I don't feel like I need to man up while I sign, or you know, I don't feel like I need to adjust that. I just sign like I sign. You know, I'm not sure how that experience mirrors or how it's different for a hearing person whose, you know, vocal quality is going to be so tied or indicative of gender. I don't know. Any comments, John? And I could see that Lola was very hesitant, you know, a lot of false starts and just struggling to articulate what she felt in front of a camera, maybe. You know, she wanted to be supportive, and I think she wanted to show that. That's what she wanted on camera, but she maybe wasn't completely honest. And you know, there was this very big marked difference between Austin and the openness there and Lola's comfort level with the topic. You know, and even when she talked about this identity that Austin identifies as a straight man and that's it, and that wasn't the way that she saw it. You know, where her support stood was very clear with surgery and being supportive and things like that. But it was more like best friends, you know, like your best friend comes to visit you in the hospital afterwards and says, all right, well, I gotta go back to work, I'll talk to you soon. Your partner stays with you, you know, kind of what James was doing, and stays and deals with his leakage and all of that recovery. So, yeah, I definitely saw that. You know, growing up, I didn't feel like Austin did, like I'm a boy. Just something was off, that's all I knew. And, you know, my father was a soldier. Very strict. I didn't have that option to, you know, express the confusion I was feeling or this sense of being out of place. So I just held it in, and then that made adolescence a struggle. I was attracted to women. Didn't really feel safe that I could come out of the closet, and I just thought, well, but that must mean that I'm a lesbian, right, if I'm attracted to women, so okay, that should be my identity, even though something still felt off. And, you know, when I was 16, I would guess around there, I just really was feeling depressed and lost, and then I found this word, transgender. When I came out of the closet, my mother just kind of, you know, blew up. She said, you know, my parents were already divorced at that time, and she said, you know, if he finds out, you know, this is bad for his business, you know, think about your family, he travels, he's a soldier, and it just really brought up a lot of concerns for my mother, and she said, just keep it as, you know, lesbian, just like this, be hooked on this lesbian thing. So, you know, I kept my hair long, and I, you know, I did go through all of those different things that John's talking about, you know, butch and tomboy and all of these different identities for several years until last year. You know, I remember one night, I was sitting and I felt like I've got two choices. You know, I know who I am. I can make this transition, pursue the surgeries, and, you know, or keep holding things in. And I just decided to go ahead and honor that process and begin it. And it really has been an improvement. It's hard. You know, people are very hung up on labels, and they feel stressed out when they don't have a clear label to give you. And, you know, and they say, but wait a minute, but I've seen you as being more feminine before, and wait, are you sure you couldn't do this? And maybe this is not the right thing. I just had to trust that I know myself. So I understand your concerns, and, you know, I would just echo, honor your own process, and I think you're going to be happier. And good luck.
In the female community, as it is for us within the male community, because we want to transition and be something that we feel that we are. So I wonder if it's the same in,
you know, going to lesbian events, bars or clubs or different things like that. It's interesting, when I started that transitioning process, you know, the response was kind of the same. I didn't fit there either. What are you doing here? And I thought, well, aren't we friends? And it was kind of like, no, you switched teams, or, you know. Now I'm not going to be accepted by you, and there's this whole gossip thing going on, and I thought I had already dealt with that in a totally different setting, and now I'm dealing with it again. You know, and then the pronoun issue comes up again, and I remember I went into a gay bar, and, you know, they just said, hey lady, what are you doing here? Oh my gosh, where do I go? Do I go to a straight bar? What is this for? I mean, I don't want that. You know, I think the gay and lesbian community, I feel like that's my community. I'm part of GLBT, so, you know, the T has to be welcome in these places. I just don't get that sometimes. You know, I hope that we can work to get to a place where that feels like home for all of us. I think it's just a constant struggle for transgender people. You know, gay people find their home, lesbian people find their home, and you know, I guess the transgendered way, people think it's the easy way out, and then you can marry into a straight relationship and you can just go live that life, but that's not what I want. You know, I still can't get married in Ohio.
I wanted to say to you, I find it was remarkable because you used the sign transition, hard, soft, angry, hesitant, magical. It was a poem. Wow, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next comment or question?